Welcome to the Digital Growth Hack Club, where we help you elevate your business and your bottom line. Here is your host, Jenny Jones.
Like for you guys to join me today. Listen, I've been trying to catch up with Steve over at PressRanger. Awesome tool. Finally had an opportunity to link up with him. What I would like to do is introduce him and his tool to you guys. He's currently right now have a very special offer on AppSumo. But what I want to do is just to kind of get this going. I just want Steve to kind of introduce himself, give us a little elevator pitch on what's been going on. Found out we have a lot more in common than most people think. But anyway, just wanted to introduce, hey, Steve, welcome to the show, Digital Growth Hacks Club.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jenny. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so thanks for finding time for me. What I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to give people an understanding of what PressRanger is and then just kind of tell us what the PressRanger is, because I have a loaded question that I want to start out with, because I think a lot of people think they don't need it, but I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to see if you could tell us the reason why they need it. But just give us about a 60-second spiel on what is PressRanger.
Yeah, totally. I'll give you a little bit longer of a spiel. So I'm Steve. I live in San Francisco. I've been an entrepreneur for most of my career now, so about 20 years. I've built and sold 3 startups. The first one I sold to Groupon in 2014, second one to Booking.com in 2018. And the third one, my most recent one, was a fundraising platform that I sold to a private equity fund late last year. And for all 3 of those startups, one of the biggest questions we had was, we need to get press. We need to build trust and authority with our clients. We need to get our name out there. How do we do that? And what you find pretty quickly, if you go and try and get press nowadays, is that you need to either A, engage a really expensive PR fund, or B, buy really expensive PR tools to make that mission possible. I don't like that. That sounds stupid to me. So my 4th startup here is PressRanger, which is a way to automate the press process and the PR process for businesses of all sizes. When you have to use an expensive PR firm or buy an expensive PR tool, it means that only certain people get access to have their stories posted in the press, which to me just doesn't make sense. I want everyone to be able to create and get good press for their companies or their clients' companies without spending a ton of money to do so.
Wow. That's loaded, right? And that makes so much more sense. So I guess you answered my first question before I could even ask you. It was more of, hey, why do people need this? Is a tool, right? When I saw it, right? Because I remember when I was trying to get press, I had this wonderful idea, and I was trying to get press, trying to get on CNBC and all that, because my background is finance, right? And been an investment advisor for over 25 years, and I came up with this novel concept and a book at the same time, and I could not get press. And I checked in all the pricing; it was super expensive. I was like, "Wait, I haven't even launched yet. You want me to pay you all this money?" So that makes sense. So I don't think people know that they need your tool. And why should I consider your tool now when I kind of have AI that can kind of write my press releases for me? Help me out with that.
Yeah, it's a great question. And so let's say we're going to ChatGPT and we say, hey, write me a press release for company X about launching a new product. We're going to make, we're going to make a better
super
skateboard.
widgets. Better
super
skateboard.
widgets.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT spits out a bunch of text for you. You got a whole press release there for how to make your super widget, super fast skateboard. What do you do with it then?
That's a good question. So anybody that's out there considering this, hold that thought. So anyone that's out there, you may have a good tool or something like that. So if you hold that thought and says, okay, so what do you do next? So go ahead and take it over, Steve. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you got a couple options, right? One, you could go and connect on LinkedIn to a bunch of journalists, right? You could try and find people who are writing about your topic. You could try and find people who are in the widget industry, right? And try and connect with them. But the thing is that LinkedIn doesn't really have a great searching tool. Google doesn't really work for this, for finding journalists that work within your sector. You could go and hire someone on Upwork to do the work for you. There's various people on Fiverr who will do sort of press release distribution services for pretty cheap pricing. But the thing with all of those like distribution services is you don't really get what you want at the end of that engagement. Usually there are 2 reasons why people try and get good press. One is to build topical authority for a brand, meaning it's more like brand PR. So, hey, we're the widget expertise leader. We want to make sure when people Google us, they're going to see us in the press and see people saying nice things about us at, TV and news and all sorts of other places in the media. That's one. Number two is that you'd use it or use PR to get high quality backlinks and SEO juice for you or your clients' brands. One of the easiest, not the easiest, the cheapest way to get a high quality backlink for SEO juice is via press. There's no question about that. And so at like a large tier one publication like a Forbes, one backlink on Forbes, if you're going to pay for it, can go for upwards of $8,000. But if you're pitching them a story and they do pick up that story because it's a unique vantage point on something they haven't heard before, they'll publish that story for free. So again, how do you go through that process? How do you know who to pitch to? How do you know what to say? That's where PressRanger comes in. We're really hoping to automate the entire process for both of those two use cases, for founders, for marketers, for small businesses, for agencies, for everyone who doesn't want to pay $20,000 a year for access to a media database.
Wow. So are you saying your tool does it put a template together for me to pitch? Or I did see something in there. I haven't pitched anything yet. I got it and I was looking, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I looked at the resources, but does it put a template together for me, or does it kind of prompt me and fill in the blanks, kind of paint by the numbers for me? Help me out on that.
Yeah, great question. And so there's two different ways you can do it. One is sort of the manual way. And so that would be in the case of our super widget, we would go and look at the media database for journalists who are writing about super widgets. We do a search. Let's say we find 1,000 folks. We add them to a contact list. Within that contact list, I can export it into my own CRM, so I can send out outreach from whatever my other CRM or email sending provider would be. But I'd say the easier way would be to use our AI campaign tool. So if you go in and you create a new AI campaign and say, hey, I'm got the super widget business, we're launching this thing, this is why it's cool, it will take a very limited amount of information and turn it into one, an AI generated press release, two, a media list that factors in what the company does and also the press release, and actually goes and finds contacts in the database that we think are actually going to be receptive to hearing a pitch about it. And then as sort of icing on the cake, it will also actually write the press emails. So it will write those pitch emails to the journalists.
Whoa. Stop right there. Your tool does all of that?
All of that. That's right.
Okay,
I love the surprise.
Okay, so I'm disappointed because I didn't know this, right? I'm disappointed because I have to be in the tool to kind of know that, right? And one of the things that I found is when I'll bring a lot of founders on and they only have a limited amount of space that they can, when they put their tools up on some of these platforms, some of the platforms say, hey, you can only use, 25 words, right, to explain what you do and all that. So it doesn't give you the proper opportunity to even say, hey, listen, hold on. Hey, listen, you can do this. Not only can you do that, but you can do this. Not only can you do that, but you can do. I didn't get all that. And now that you're telling me this, I'm even more, man, I'm glad I super stacked this for one. I think it's only 2 tiers, but I got the highest tier. So that's good. So what about a person that, did I let you finish your thought? Because you were telling me it did all of that. And I was surprised, like, whoa. It does all of that. I wanted to make sure that the audience knew that. So what else does it do? Did I cut you off?
Yeah,
I think I cut you off. I was so excited.
No, you're totally fine. I'm glad you were so excited. And so, yeah, the AI campaign tool will build out a media list, write your press release for you, and also write the pitch emails for you. And so if you're looking to go from, I'm doing something, right, launch an announcement or whatever it is that needs to go in the press, if you're looking to go from that to a toolkit to actually start sending pitches to the press in less than 5 minutes, there's no other tool that will do that today except PressRanger.
Wow. Man, I feel good now. It's like, man, funny enough, right? My audience, my members, they get a lot of inside stuff from me, and I'll tell them, hey, I think I found, I taught, when I first seen your tool, I told my members first of my channel, I says, hey, I think I got this tool. I don't know if I'm going to bring it to the mainstream and let everybody know about it yet. I just want to make sure it is what it is. So if you remember this channel, you're always going to get the secret juice first. And I found a tool. I said, let me download, let me see what it's about. So what my big test was, let me start going through the database. Let me see what kind of sources do we have. And it really is. Are you guys expanding on that? Because there were some areas I was like, oh, they don't really have this, but they have this, so that's a close cousin. Are you guys looking to expand your sources? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so as of today, there's about 500,000 journalists and 500,000 individual publishers. And that's across every region, stage, vertical, and sector globally. So every country, everywhere that there is news, you can use PressRanger to get press. In terms of what happens next, so every day we're reaching out to new journalists, new publications to get their information on how they want to be pitched. The difference between a PressRanger and like a Cision or a Muckrack or Prowly is that they're just scraping that data, which like honestly we do too, of course, because you kind of have to, but we're also going out and verifying it with that publication and with that individual contact to make sure A, that information is correct, and then B, just making sure that they have their say too, right? And so a lot of journalists, if you just scrape their Twitter bio or something like that, you get a very limited sense of what they want to write about. But I think broader and bigger picture, what we've noticed is that it's easy to get fixated on, oh, I'm writing about AI, I got to pitch tech journalists or something like that. But honestly, you can pitch outside of that sector. And if you're writing a good story or have a good idea for what that pitch should be, you can get that picked up by pretty much any publication if you tailor it to what they write about, right? And sometimes it can actually be easier to do that.
Yeah, I think AI is affecting a lot of verticals. So
Exactly.
I mean, it shouldn't be like, you can get into the HR, can say, hey, how's that replacing, or do people really need to know AI? Do they know the prompts and all that? So you can go a couple of different ways in that. Man, I'm getting more excited here, man. You got me wanting to log off of here and go log into it.
Nice.
I'm not kidding. I'm really serious because I do have a new book that's going to drop first quarter of next year. And it's funny because all of my students, I have coaching clients and all that, they already know when they talk to me, because the way I set them up is I make sure that they have a major project going on every single quarter. And when they challenge me, sometimes I'll ask them, where are we at with this? Where are we at with that? Whenever they challenge me, I already tell them what quarter this is happening and what have you. So I always challenge so they're probably going to give me crap about it in the comments or something. So let me ask you about a tool like HARO or Help a Reporter Out or something like that. How are you different with that? Because I have my pros and cons about that because I use that a little bit. So tell me a little bit, how are you guys different from them?
Yeah, I'll give you the full sort of background on HARO and sort of supporting services there. So back in the day, HARO was this amazing way where people got backlinks. And the reason it worked is because there wasn't that many people using it. And the way that it works is that journalists would go and say, hey, I need a source who can tell me about AI and business. And they maybe get 10 pitches from people like you and I who are trying to get backlinks or press for our companies. And it was easy to actually get articles and mentions back then because there wasn't that many people using it. Right. Smash cut to, I don't know, 10 years later, 7 years later, however long it's been. Now there are probably 10 different services like that. And all of them suffer from the same problem, which is that if you're a journalist and you're seeking a source for a story that you're writing and you get 900 responses, it's really difficult, A, for anything to really sift to the top, especially in the age of AI and where content is really cheap to make. And then two, as a person who's trying to get a link for my company or press for my company, you're now competing with thousands of different people to do that. And not to mention, you need paid accounts on all of the different services now to be able to pitch. So quoted, featured, help a reporter out, those are all paid platforms now. And so if you want to pitch, A, you're limited on how many pitches you can send, and then B, it's going to cost you money. But I think the biggest difference is that you need to find a way, if you're going to use those services, to stand out from the thousands of other pitches that journalists are going to get. The beauty of using something like PressRanger, or even just doing direct reach out to journalists, which you don't necessarily need to use PressRanger for, although we make it a lot easier, is that you're no longer competing with thousands of other people. You're just competing with yourself. And if you're pitching a great story, if your pitch is going to the right journalist, you're going to get a response. You're going to get someone in your network. You're going to be able to build rapport with that journalist, and hopefully you're also going to get a story written.
Man, I'm super excited about this. I actually went through, I don't even know if I'm gonna tell the embarrassing part of this, but let's just say I paid a significant amount of money to learn how to pitch to these outlets, a significant amount, right? And once I figured it out, I was like, whoa, is that it? Right. And it's not that it was easy. It was more that it was a formula more than anything else. It's more of, you need to be familiar with who the people are in your genre or your vertical And then you need to, at least be able to introduce yourself, and they need to know who you are. They're just not going to just, and I think a lot of it has to do with authority now, right? And because everybody's coming up saying, oh, I write about this. Nah, you did a couple of articles on ChatGPT. You're not really the actual authority in this. And I think more of it is now being the authority. And I think that was something that I think Google was trying to move to, whereas now they're trying to, if they're going to resurface your articles or your blogs or whatever, they kind of want you to have proven yourself through a period of time of being the authority in an area. How does your tool help that? Or in fact, or is that even true or slightly true of what I just said?
Yeah, you're spot on. And so, I mean, GPT-3 has been out for over a year at this point, and ChatGPT launched, over a year ago. And even before then, with like the beta versions of ChatGPT and GPT-2, it was exceedingly easy to create a lot of content and put it on a blog or put it on a website or put it on LinkedIn or whatever it was, and sort of, I don't want to say pretend to be an authority, but at least have like a lot louder of a signal that you were. And the issue that Google quickly recognized was that we need to have a much higher weighted proxy for authority than just the amount of words you can put on a page. And sort of it's become even more and more important to have these high quality placements and backlinks that go on these tier 1 publications that link back to your website, because that's the best way Google can understand these people actually know what they're talking about, versus someone who's just generating thousands of articles on ChatGPT and sort of hoping for the best. I think it's also a good place to say that, while yes, we're doing a ton of the work for you with the AI generated campaigns, because it's AI generated, you obviously want to have a human edit these things to make sure that you're not sending out things that aren't facts or that you don't actually think or anything like that. We're just doing that prep work for you with software.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. And I tell even my students, and I tell other people, even on my channels, is listen, these large language models, they're not the savior, right? What they can do is speed up a lot of the process, but the human element still needs to be involved. So if you're going to be out here writing all these blog articles, it's like, yeah, if you're not saying, well, if you're not even telling stories, right? I'm a good storyteller. So, I mean, even if you're in there and you do maybe 60% AI, if you add in or sprinkle in another 40% or make it 50-50, then you have a better chance of it even being, somewhat valid. So, and I get your point, because yours is basically, if you're pitching, it looks like yours do these pitches to people's emails and saying, if you write kind of robotic and rigid versus making it sound personal, I can see where that could turn off a lot of, because they probably get a lot of pitches. Do they get a lot of pitches, you think? I mean,
of
do
course,
these people?
Yeah. Every journalist we talk to has an inbox full every day of people who are basically saying the same thing, which is, hey, my brand is amazing, you should write about it. Which, if you read that 100 times a day, it's pretty easy to tune that out and not pay attention to those emails. And that's where I think PressRanger has a huge distinction, because we're helping people write actual stories, right? We're not just helping you send the same templated email to thousands of journalists. We want you to actually get press. And that's just not going to happen if you're sending the same emails.
So give us one. I mean, as we kind of wrap up, this is awesome. I do want to ask you a little bit more about the tool and the deal that you got going on here, but give us one for my audience, right? I always try to, when I bring on a founder, I say, hey, give us some inside juice that they'll probably only hear here first, or, or outside of any other channel and uniqueness, but give us one way, or give us something that we did not know that helps us get moved to the top of the stack when it comes to pitching. Give us at least one. There's probably a couple, but at least give us one piece of information or piece of juice when it comes to trying to move to the top of a press release inbox.
Totally. And I think what people get wrong about this is that they think they can send out a relatively generic press release. So in our example, it was, hey, we've got, my dog is trying to get out of this room. I'm just going to pick him up and he's going to do this answer with me. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Let him do the answer with you.
What's he's ready for TV.
I thought you had a puppy. That's a big dude.
He's big. Yeah. So I think the important part to note is that if you're just writing templated press releases, like, it's not really going to work. There are hundreds and hundreds of emails that are filling up journalist inboxes like that.
Right.
I'm going to let him.
I was wondering how long you. I was wondering how long you were going to hold him up, because I thought he was a puppy. Man, you picked that guy up. He's almost bigger than you.
I gotta start working out more, obviously, to be able to answer questions holding the dog. Maybe next time. And
Maybe
so the
next time.
most important part to understand here is that journalists are like me and you. They're a little lazy, right? They want you to do the work for them. And so the easiest way to get picked up is not to send a press release, it's to send a full-fledged story and to focus on what tier one publications want nowadays, which is viral content. So choose your niche and then write articles, call it 1,000 words of something that could potentially go viral that also mentions your brand and builds up your own topical authority within the space. So let's say what's your book about that's coming out next year?
Retirement. It's
Okay.
about retirement. Yeah.
So let's workshop some ideas on like how you could write an article about that places your book in the article, but also has a broader sort of like more viral approach to writing it. So it could be these secret keys to retirement will help you feeling young. Things like that. Headlines like that do really well on Facebook, on TikTok, on things like that.
Right.
And that's what journalists are all under immense pressure to deliver, right? Like they need people to pitch stories like that because they don't want to do the work themselves. So then you write that article, 1,000 words, just sort of include in as an addendum somewhere, hey, author Jenny Jones, whose book name comes out in 2025, had this to say, and sort of give yourself a little quote there. You're going to get a backlink, you're going to get topical authority on the space, and Google's going to love that, the journal's going to love that, and most importantly, you are too, because you're getting an amazing press mention.
Nice. So what I gather from that is not only do you, if you approach it where let me give them juice and I'll get juice by just by default. If I give them juice so they can look good to their senior management and they can bring a lot of viral authority or viral clicks to their article, which helps boost their ads and all that other. I already kind of know how that works. And they're going to bring clicks and eyeballs. Then just buy as a byproduct of me pitching it and just, oh, by the way, this was written by Jenny Jones, retirement author or whatever. That's just a small snippet, but that small snippet brings a link back to my channel. And I think some people make a mistake where they oversell, like every other sentence they're mentioning something that they're doing versus let me give you the story, right? Let me give you the story first. And oh, by the way, this was written. I think they appreciate that more. That's something I paid a lot of money to learn and find out. So that's true. So is that correct though? What I just said? I mean, because you got to give them some juice in order for you to get a sprinkle back, basically.
Exactly. I mean, imagine having an inbox full every day of people who say, hey, my brand is great, you should write a story about it. Hey, that still worked for me. I still have to go write that story. It's a lot easier for me as if I'm that journalist to get a story that says, here's a already like polished, ready to go story that, yeah, it has a link to your website. They understand the game. But now I don't have to do anything. Like they're judged by the engagement and reach of their articles, which is an immense amount of pressure to put somebody under, especially when you're asking them to write the story. It's one thing if your brand is SpaceX and you're going to make humans multiplanetary. Like Elon doesn't need to go do this because he's going to make us go to Mars in theory, right? But I think for the rest of us, where our brands are, they're important and they're great and they're what we live and care about. But it's really difficult to convey that to a journalist over a press release or a single email in a way that makes them want to write about it.
Wow, this is awesome, Steve. I've learned a lot from you. So tell us why we should, because I already looked at your pricing. I think this is a very unique deal and a very unique time right now. So you tell us, why do you think this deal is the deal that people must look at? I don't think there's a lot. So here's what I will say, and I'll just be honest with you, right? I review a lot of SaaS tools, right? Probably more than an average person. I own a lot of SaaS tools because I run 3 companies. So I'm picking up different tools for my different companies all the time. And I'm looking at these different tools. So tell me why. And so most people, when they come to a place like AppSumo or a place that offers lifetime deals, this is not the typical tool that they would look at, because they're looking for things to, one, increase their revenue directly. It says, oh, can you increase my revenue? And I tell my members of my channel, hey, look for things that increase your revenue or increase efficiency. Tell me why, because this doesn't jump out right? Some of the other stuff it does, oh, make AI do this, or here's a CRM tool that you can use to do your email or whatever. This tool sits in the other box. But tell us why we should move it to a primary selection in our shopping cart on a platform like AppSumo.
I'm going to answer that question with another question. Your
Sure.
book comes out in 2025.
My book comes out in 2025. Yes, it does.
And so admittedly, probably PressRanger doesn't fit in at the first glance, the revenue or efficiency box. However, let's say that you did some press with PressRanger, reached out to a bunch of journalists and got shout outs in MarketWatch, Forbes, Yahoo News, things like that.
Yeah, baby.
What box would that fit into?
Oh, you saying, revenue box, man. Is that a trick question? You did ask me that. But see, that's not fair. Here's the reason why. Because I already know that. That's why I picked up your tool as soon as I saw it. And because I understand the long game, right? And I think a lot of the people that follow my channel, they know, the people that just started following me know I'm a SaaS nut, right? I follow tools and know what they need. A lot of them don't know where I broke my teeth at in the stock market, understanding financials, right? Understanding how to read financial statements. I have a master's degree, a dual master's degree, one in accounting and one in financial management. I know how to get to I know how to get those numbers moving by any means necessary. And I know, and I realized a long time ago, that's the reason why I spend so much money trying to understand how to get press. And then when I saw your tool, I connected the two together. I could not wait to tell my audience. I think I did a live and I told them, hey, there's this tool coming out. I don't even know if you saw that live because I think it's for members only. I'm going to try to make sure that you get to see that. But I literally told everybody on my live, and says, hey, listen, they said, Jenny, tell us about a tool that nobody's talking about. And then I think it just did it last week. I'll show it to you. They said, Jenny, tell us a tool that nobody's talking about. I said, there's a tool nobody's talking about, but they need it. Everyone needs it. And I said, PressRanger is that tool. Now, people can comment below when they see this and they'll be like, I told you guys. And that was just on the surface before I actually know what it does now. I'm even more excited about it now. I think I'm going to do a deep dive on this tool, guys. And I think you guys had asked me to come back later and dive deeper on it and just kind of show you some of the advantages that I like about it. And I got to be honest with you, Steve, man, $98. I mean, for the highest tier, if you can't make $100 back as an investment in this particular tool that's going to give you unlimited AI media campaigns, unlimited AI press releases, unlimited AI contact lists, 2,000 CSV exports per month. And now, right? I don't know if I had anything to do with it. I think it was more of a popular demand. But when I saw it, I didn't know anybody else was asking for it. But you can now manage 5 companies or 5 brands. I would say at least 5 brands underneath it. Tell us your idea behind that. First of all, $98 is a steal. I feel like we're getting over on you, Steve.
I appreciate that. I think you're right. And like the goal for us now is to get PressRanger in as many hands as possible because we want to stress test it. We want to make sure that people are actually able to use the tool to get good press. And we've seen really good results in even the 2 weeks or so that we've been live on AppSumo and also with our beta customers before. So everything's been going extraordinarily well. Again, this is my 4th time around as a startup founder. So like I've done this a couple of times now. This one has gone better than any other startup I've done previously so far in the first couple of weeks of like a public AppSumo type launch. So we're really excited about that, not only from a sales perspective, but from a results perspective. We've had a lot of users already email us and say, hey, I got a mention in this publication. I got a link in this press blog, whatever that part may be. In terms of the multiple companies piece, we heard from a lot of people, yourself included, in the first week of the launch, that, hey, I manage a couple different companies. It's not enough just to be able to do a press release for one and media list for one. I want to manage a bunch. And so we launched that tier 2 part, letting people do up to 5 companies. I think we're actually going to do a third one as well, which is going to be more companies and also more ability to do export lists and also adding more seats onto the account as well, because people have said that they want to do, I want my VA to be able to come in and manage this company, but a different VA to manage this other company. all those different pieces there. So I think we've heard that a lot from agencies and sort of like larger operators that would be a big help, but we're still talking to those users now. So if that's you listening to this, please feel free to reach out to me. It's steve@pressranger.com. Email me your use case, and I'll make sure that we're building that for you and what you're trying to do with your brands.
I like that. I'm all over that. So that's something that I would be interested in. And Steve, I mean, I would be even more impressed that when I brought it up, you said, "Hey, is that something you're interested in?" I was like, "Yeah, I manage multiple brands, right? Even under one company, I manage multiple brands." And you guys said, "All right, well, we're working on it." Well, not even 48 hours later, you said, "Hey, Jenny, it's live." I was like, wait, what? You remember that conversation we had via email? And I was like, oh, they're not playing around, right? And I love it when someone, obviously we're in the same state and only a couple hours away. I feel very, close to companies that they're right here in my backyard. And then you say, "Hey, we got you." I was like, "Wait, what do you mean you got me?" He's like, "Yeah, we've added the companies." I was like, "Dude, I just sent you an email like 42 hours ago, and it's less than 48 hours. We already had it." So that was very impressive of me. Impressive of you guys. I can appreciate that. So thank you. And it does, and it's added some extra value. So let me ask you this as we kind of bring this to a close. Will you, two questions I have, and I don't want to forget the other one. So the other question is, why does this company seem different than the other ones? I didn't want to forget that. Why does this company, is it the timing, or why does this one feel a little bit different than the other ones that you started and was successfully exited? That's one question. And I don't want to forget my other question, because at my age, I start forgetting questions. But if you can answer that for me, or just, not in full details, but just tell us, why do you think this one was different?
In terms of from launch, this one has just been so overwhelmingly positive that we hit the right note on the mission. So again, the mission is making press available to everyone. Because right now, if you want good press, you're going to waste a lot of time, and you're probably also going to waste a lot of money, usually both. And so that's a really difficult dynamic for anybody who's not a giant company to get in the news, which is a huge leg up and a huge advantage when you're trying to build trust and credibility and revenue for your businesses.
Right.
I just don't like that. It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm going to work tirelessly to make that the case within PressRanger. And what I've already seen in the beta customers that we've had and since the AppSumo launch is that everyone agrees, right? Everyone's gone through this process of trying to find PR software or do PR themselves and fallen into the same traps that I had in previous companies. And I've just heard so much resounding, echoing yes from the communities of, this is a huge issue. Thank you for, trying to like chip away at it. And we're going to build it for people like you, right? Like that's why over email you say, "Hey, this would be a great feature. Can you guys do it?" And it's done a day or two later. Like we're building this to be able to solve problems for folks like you and I, not like the Googles and the Facebooks and things like that who don't have the same issues.
I go to your, I'm not going to figure my other question, but so I was looking, I was like, man, this guy has, so you guys have, not this guy, I want to be respectful, but your company has 12 reviews and they're all 5-star. The first review I go to says, "How is this product so cheap?" And that's what I would say. I was like, how is it so cheap, man? How is it so cheap? And it over delivers. There's very few products that come to AppSumo that is very inexpensive that over delivers. PressRanger is one of those tools. It's not that expensive and it over delivers. It's like, whoa. I can make my $100 investment back in the same day just by getting a response back and looking at all the different contacts and resources in there. Just the contact database alone is worth several thousands. And I don't think people realize that. I mean, that's sick, right? So
it's
my
really
next
hard information to find, really hard information unless you're a member of the Muck Racks and the Prowleys and all these that are $500 a month minimum.
No, listen, I went in there. I was like, whoa, there's real people in there. Some people in there from Forbes and all that. Because, of course, I'm looking for my retirement stuff because I'm setting up, thinking ahead for my book. I'm like, okay, these are some different people I can pitch or what have you. Man, I started seeing some CNBC, some Forbes. But I was like, oh, this is different. Right. This is different. So anyway, enough about that. Right. So my last question is more of a technical question. Twofold. One is do you anticipate, and I know you probably got this, I haven't read back in the different questions and notes anymore, but I'll just bring it up here. Maybe you've heard of it before, but do you guys anticipate adding an agency piece or making that available later on for us to add on agency, meaning that, hey, I run a PR firm and I want to manage, several clients underneath me and kind of make this interface that they can kind of do the checks and balances. They can kind of see the things that I do. And I'll say, all right, we're going to submit it. Right. Is that a possibility of happening? That's an agency piece.
Yeah, we're kind of teasing out what the difference is between tier 3, which we're for sure going to do, which is going to have a higher export limit credit per month,
Sure.
and also
Sure.
being able to manage more companies than just the 5. And then
Sure.
the difference between that and then also like what an agency would need. And I think an agency, I think more about, hey, your clients can log in and they can kind of see what you're doing, right, for their
Sure.
sort of PR services.
Sure.
That would
Mhm.
probably be a different tier, but it's also something we've heard before. And I think we're getting more serious about planning that out and
Yeah.
actually building it.
That would be
But I think
a different tier. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. The important part for us again is just being able to be in touch with people who would use that. So maybe that's you, or if it's someone who's out there listening, like please get in touch. Again, it's steve@pressranger.com. Hit me up over email. Let me know what you're doing and what you're up to, and more importantly, what you want your clients or kind of sub users to be able to do. We'll build the feature for you. We just want to make sure we get it right and it's actually useful for folks. It's way easier for us to do that with people in mind than it is for us to just sort of like guess on how people want to use it. So please reach out. We'll build it for you.
Can you promise a 48-hour turnaround? No, I'm kidding. All right.
46 hours for this one.
46. You did do it in 46. So I can see that. So the audience here at AppSumo, I could see that, because what we like to do and what we found, and I'm speaking for most Sumolings, right, is what we found is there's an audience out there that doesn't want to have anything to do with tech. It's like it cringes, makes them cringe. And because we're comfortable around tech, we don't have a problem. So if you hire, and I do have, one of my brands is an agency, and I might say, well, when I run across people that I want to help them, when I want to help a person, I kind of want to give them all the different things that they need to do, right? I'm a different type of agency. There's some people, you'll buy their tool and says, all right, see you later. Me, I kind of like to help you and get you going all the steps of the way, right? And if this was a particular piece and says, hey, you know what, I did this. And then what I'd also like, and I'm gonna just tell you, I'm putting in my wish list, what I'd also like, and what I found, and I don't think a lot of founders do this well, is create an agency piece for me that I can bring someone in, incubate them, right? And then allow them the opportunity to possibly move up into their own plan with you. But I want to get credit for that, right? I brought this tool to them. I brought PressRanger to you. I'm going to show you, once we got in and we started using it, it says, okay, Jenny, I'm no longer, need to be a client of yours. I kind of got this. I have my own firm. This is okay. So what were you using? The tool you were using? Well, we're using PressRanger. Here is that actual, if you want to get that. And then, so what that does is it gives me a portion of, I could kind of like an affiliate, meaning I brought them to you, but I kind of want to be rewarded for that too. So it's kind of, you bring them through an incubator. That's the way I like to do my clients. And I haven't seen a lot of founders do that successfully, because we eventually have to drop people off. Some people are not technical, but some people, once they get it, and definitely if we're going to do the agency piece and they can feel their way around and they feel comfortable with it, but they want to reduce their costs to me, then I turn them on to you. But I still have an affiliate piece that ties with them for bringing you to that. So what do you feel about that as we kind of close up?
Yeah, two notes for you. One is that we're going to launch an affiliate program in the next week or two here. I'm just getting sort of the final finishing touches there. So we'd obviously love to have you on board for that. In terms of getting, that's step one. Step two is that we're also going to launch, call it PressRanger managed services or digital PR services, things like that. Because we've already heard from a number of people, hey, all these tools are great. I totally see how I can use it to get good PR, but also I have no time because I run 10 other businesses. Can you do it for me? And the answer is yes. We're putting together packages right now. We've been doing it with some beta customers. Everything's going to be guaranteed, one flat rate, no contracts, cancel anytime. It's going to be the same sort of high quality you'll expect from when you use PressRanger itself, but really tailored around done for you, totally automatic services to support any launch that you have going on. So again, there's no pressure to use this. You don't have to sign up for the additional services. But again, from an affiliate perspective, you can refer people to the tool or refer people to the actual service and also get a cut of the revenue that you provide.
Ooh, nice. So not like a marketplace where a person like me becomes very good at the tool and then you hand them off to me, is versus you guys. I mean, you hand them off to me. I'm a PressRanger user, but does that make sense as far as like you have a marketplace of people who are kind of certified in it or something? We're kind of getting a little tech. We're getting off brand, but I want you guys to know that there's a vision in Steve's head for PressRanger.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think having some sort of marketplace where people are certified in our methodology for how to get backlinks and press, I think there's value in that. To start, just because we're so new, it'll be something that we want to keep tighter controls on. So we're going to manage it internally with our team.
Absolutely.
But I'm also open to that idea too. I think that's pretty cool. I'll definitely be thinking about that.
And what $100 investment can get you today? It can get you an opportunity to work with PressRanger. And some of you guys out there want to be agencies. Then some of you guys are really serious about being agencies. This is an opportunity that if you're really serious about being an agency, you need to be adding PressRanger to your SaaS toolkit today. Only if you're serious. If you're not serious, we ain't got time for that because we're trying to make some money around here, right, Steve?
That's right.
We're trying to get to another exit, another IPO exit.
And if you sign up for the tool, if you buy it from Jenny's YouTube or any of the channels or ways that he distributes content, like shoot me an email again, steve@pressranger.com. I'm totally happy to help you get onboarded, help you find media lists, help you get good press. Reach out directly, say you got it from Jenny. I'll definitely help you out.
Nice. I love that endorsement. Thank you, Steve. This has been great, man. This has been fantastic. I'm super excited. I can't wait to share more. I am going to do a deep dive on your tool. I'm going to do an actual use case. I don't want to really give the elements of my book out, so I may do something else that I may do a press release. Oh, I know I'll do another different type of press release on one of my other companies. But
when you're ready to do press for your book too, reach out and we'll definitely help you out with that one as well. We'll do that together.
Can you guys get a load of this guy? I'm impressed, man. Steve, you have impressed me enough. Like when I told you to add the multiple users, oh, Jenny's done. I was like, who is this? I actually, and I'm gonna just be honest with you, since we're being honest and you're gonna help me. I saw your email and it says we're done. I completely didn't even open it because I could not believe you were done. I said, man, they ain't done. Because it's like when you get in the mornings, right? You start going through your emails, right? I'm just being honest with you. I'm looking at it. And I was like, Steve's like, yeah, Jenny, we're done. We added. I was like, they're not done. I just asked them for this, right? And I started scrolling down, right? And then so by the time lunchtime came and I started checking the rest of my emails, and I clicked on it. He says, hey, Jenny, we're done. You can log into it right now and look at it. And I logged in and it was there. I was like, holy crap. I just asked for this. So that's true transparency as we kind of close up here. You got any last words, Steve? This has been pretty good, man. You got any last words?
No, thanks so much for the time. Thanks so much for letting us tell our story. And yeah, we look forward to meeting all of your viewers on PressRanger.
Hey, do you know, I appreciate that. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to come to San Francisco and we're going to hang out and we'll if you guys listen, if you guys want to know anything else, whatever you have, any questions you weren't able to connect with him or anything like that, I am going to go out to PressRanger. I want to see him and meet him, probably take a photo or whatever to prove to you guys, definitely my members only. I may take you guys behind the scenes. We might look at some things that they're working on. Members only. You guys know how I do this, right? And we might be able to get some more insights for you guys. You guys have been great. Jenny Jones Digital Growth Hacks Club. You guys know I'm bringing it to you first. I appreciate all you guys. I definitely appreciate my members. I'm going to give you guys shout outs out there, right? All of my members out there. Thank you. Adrian's my member. Who else can I shout out? Cole out there. Who else can I shout out? He's going to kill me. I can't remember. Sister Soldier out there. And one more. I have one more shout out. I just want to give them. I got it because they get mad at me if I don't shout them out. So, so we have Adrian, we have Mark Rodriguez, Sister Soldier, and Cole and Stu out there. All of you guys and Bruni. Thank you guys for being members and thank you guys for running with me. I really appreciate it. Until next time. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining us here on the Digital Growth Hack Club, where we help you elevate your business and your bottom line. Please do not forget to subscribe and share. And until next time, goodbye for now.